What's up YouTube, it's TF Collector, and today I'll be reviewing the LEGO Set 10358 SOUNDWAVE. And before we take a look at the inside and build this up, we will first take a look at the big packaging that he comes in. As you can see, my lighting can't even cooperate with it. But up top, Transformers SOUNDWAVE. It does transform. There is SOUNDWAVE, there is Laserbeak, there is Ravage. He has a sound brick warning, don't eat things, 18 and up, battery included. Yay, I don't have to buy things. On this side, Ravage, Hasbro, Lego, more warnings as I hit things because this box is so massive. On this side, sound brick in different languages and more warning and advertising. And on the back, you have nice product shots there of how you can convert him. There he is, all built up, and some more product shots going on there. On the top, you have him in alt mode, Lego, Hasbro, and on the bottom, barcode. And that is it for the massive packaging. And now that we have taken a look at the packaging, let's go ahead and crack it open and see what all we get inside. I'm going to use this pair of scissors here, but a knife would probably work better to get down in the tight packaging. But for now, the scissors will do because that's all I have. But anyways, let's see what all we get inside. Just cracking this open. We are going to have a lot of bags. So there's bag 4. There's bag 10. I'm not going to tell you all the numbering of the bags. I'm just going to start throwing them. I'll show you a shot of all the bags before we build it. But more bags. We're just going to keep throwing bags until we get all of our bags out. And I feel more bags. Yep, sure enough, more bags. Here is our sticker sheet that we will be using. I'll do that during the time lapse. Here's a little packet that you might want, probably about the batteries if I'm guessing. Here is our beautiful instruction manual. Get out of the way because I want that in this shot. Look at that, that is very nicely done. Laserbeak, Soundwave, Ravage in his chest, Lego, and the set number. And on the back, just a nice Decepticon logo there. But last but not least, you do get your wonderful sound brick. But that's everything that comes in the box. Let me show you a wider shot of everything you get. And going handheld really quickly, here are all your bags. There's 1 through 4, 5 through 8, and 9 through 12. And you also, of course, have your manual, your instructions, and your sound brick. And that is everything you get in the package with SOUNDWAVE. So with that being said, let's time lapse. And back at you in real time, here is the fully built Lego SOUNDWAVE, and I think this guy has turned out really awesome looking. Some great play features, great other parts of the build, but as for the main bot himself, he does look very nice. But coming in close on the head sculpt that we get with this guy, you can see they did design this very well, using pieces for the eyes instead of printed pieces like they did for Bumblebee and Optimus. The whole head is now just a bunch of Lego pieces. You have your little shoulder cannon here, which you can take on and off, but I, of course, am going to leave it on there for accuracy. A nice printed piece here with the Decepticon logo with some yellow outlining. Now, all of this is all stickers. This is the only printed piece that you can see right now, but just coming down the rest of the body, more stickers down to the feet. As far as a backpack goes, there is absolutely nothing there. He looks absolutely awesome. I think they did a great job with this design, and overall the robot mode is certainly superior. And although he is a Lego set, he can still articulate, which is something I appreciate Lego including in these Transformers. So the head is on a ball joint. It can do a full 360. It can also look up slightly, especially if you extend that other neck joint, but you will have to push that down. If you want to extend that neck joint, you can also have him looking down, and he does have a little bit of wiggle and waggle due to being on a ball joint. The arms can do a full 360 on very soft ratchets. They can barely go out just due to the design of the arm, but if you bring it up, you can get 2 clicks out instead of just the 1. Now, you don't really have a necessarily bicep swivel. You can just barely get it to swivel there at the elbow, but you do have a nice double jointed elbow. As you can see, you get some nice deep movement there from the elbow. As far as the hand go, it can rotate side to side. Due to transformation, you can bring it back if you want, and each of the 4 fingers are all individually posable, so you can do some different things there. Nothing at a waist swivel or anything like that. The legs cannot go forward or back just due to the way they are designed, but they can go out to the side to a full split. Especially if you get this up and out of the way, you can really get that full split out of him there. That will help with transformation later. You can also get some rotation there at the thigh, which will also help with the transformation. As far as the knee goes, you get 90 degrees of bend there. And when it comes to the feet, you cannot swivel them side to side, but you do get a little bit of an ankle pivot. So overall, some nice articulation included, especially considering the fact that this is a Lego. Now, as for accessories, or more so just other parts of the build, you do get quite a bit here. First of all, you get this plaque piece here with a nice sticker there. As you can see, dust already collecting on this matte black pieces of Lego, but you can see all his specs there, and of course SOUNDWAVE is superior, so that is an accessory that you get. You also get a little mini version of him here in alt mode as the cassette player. You can see I have chosen to put the Laserbeak piece there, but you do also get a Ravage piece that you can swap out, and basically just pop that one off, put this one on. It's real simple. No need to really even show it. You just pop one off, put it back on. As for other accessories, you get his blaster, which as you can see here is very reminiscent to what he has in the cartoon. A very nice design here up front. Really enjoyed how that came together. And of course, the main 2 that you get with this set are Ravage and Laserbeak, who we will take closer looks at. And a final option that you get that I almost forgot is you do get these 2 yellow pieces here that you can replace the red eyes with, and that gives you more of a G1 toy look for SOUNDWAVE. So if you want him to have the yellow visor, you can totally have that. And now let's show how all of these work. So first, coming down to a lower level, I did decide I'll show this off just so everyone can see. You just take one off and put the other one right on. It's that simple. So now he has Ravage, and you do have the option to use those 2 studs there, and you can store your little cassette player there. Unfortunately, nowhere to really put the other one. I just put it on top. There you go. There's your first accessory. And if you want to have SOUNDWAVE wielding his blaster, it is very simple. You just bring up this piece, and now this piece can be brought out and put into this arm, or this hand rather. It's totally optional. Me personally, I'm just going to leave it in the right hand, and basically you will just put that Technic piece down in there as I drop everything and it goes flying, but you will just place that down in there, and that kind of gives the effect that he is holding his gun. As you can see, it is a little too heavy for him, unfortunately, but he does hold it pretty securely, and it does give him a cooler look. And if you bring in these two yellow pieces to use for the eyes, it's pretty simple to swap them out. I'm not personally going to do it just because it does require a little bit of a hassle, but you can move this mouth plate down. It is on a little bit of a hinge, and you can kind of see you're just going to pop those two pieces out and pop these two new ones in, and there you go. That's what he looks like with his yellow eyes. I don't see anyone really storing him like that, but if you want to, and if you want to give him that G1 toy look, totally an option. And of course, the main course when it comes to his accessories, Laserbeak and Ravage. Taking a closer look at each of them, Laserbeak looks pretty awesome. You can see a very nice build with a printed piece there for the eyes, and each of these Decepticon logos are printed pieces as well, if I can speak English. You can see they use these two pieces to kind of give him some undercarriage blasters, but he does have these two bigger blasters up top, and overall it looks very reminiscent to what we get in the cartoon. And as for Ravage, once again, printed piece for the eyes and printed piece with the Decepticon logo there, but much more accurate than any other Ravage we've got recently as far as Transformers figures go. But he is looking very, very good, and he also has the big blaster pack there on the back. And each of these guys has a little bit of articulation. For Laserbeak, you can kind of go boots and cats with each of his wings, along with these pieces do very easily pop up, but you can also just slightly move his head down, move his head up. You have options that you can do there with a little bit of neck movement and whatnot. For Ravage, you have hinges up here that you can move, you have hinges in here that you can move, and you have hinges at the bottom that you can move. Same for the back leg, and as for the head, it can look up, and as for the little tail in the back, you can also move it around a little, and the blaster pieces are also slightly articulated. So that is the detail and articulation for your little mini-cons. And being mini-cons, they can, of course, transform into SOUNDWAVE's cassettes. So starting with Laserbeak, you do unfortunately have to do parts forming for this. Take these two blaster pieces off, and we will really get started. Bring his little legs up to the side, like so. Fold the wings in on the double hinges that they are on, and bring those legs the rest of the way up. Take the head, fold it back, flip it this way is the way they have it in the instructions, and there you have one cassette all done. As for Ravage, once again, unfortunately, going to have to pop these pieces up and out. So you do have parts forming on each of them, which kind of sucks, but it's alright. Flip the tail in, flip the head back, take these sections, bring them up on each side. Make sure these sections are lined up straight, and you can take these pieces, fold them inward, take these pieces, fold them inward, and that's how you want that side looking. Same side, of course, you want to look the same, so just bring that piece down, fiddle around with those feet a little bit, and unfortunately that one just... And my phone just gave me a storage warning. How rude. But finishing up here, you just push that piece in, and there you have Ravage in his cassette mode. So here are your two cassettes, and as far as looks go, they are just cassettes. They look like cassettes. I think they look pretty good myself, but we can, of course, do a little bit of fun and put them in the chest of SOUNDWAVE. And bringing the big guy back in, basically how this works is you will press this button right here to release the chest panel and bring him a little closer so you can see more of what I'm doing. We'll start with Laserbeak. Basically what you're going to do is just finagle them right in there so they fit right in. Close the chest up, and that's how he looks with Laserbeak. And we can press that, and we can do the whole Laserbeak eject. And speaking of SOUNDWAVE talking, I'll show you more about that here in a second. Very cool feature coming up. But we can also use Ravage, and we can plop him in there, close it up, and there's how he looks with Ravage. And for one final feature, the one I'm speaking so highly of, is if you press this play button right here, it will go through tons of SOUNDWAVE voices and tons of different lines he says, along with some different sounds from the cartoon. So I'm just going to keep pressing it and let's see what all you can hear. And now for some quick comparisons. First, here is SOUNDWAVE with the OG of the Lego Transformers. If I can get the big old boy in my hand, here he is with Optimus Prime. So you can see how these two look together. My favorite G1 Autobot, my favorite G1 Decepticon, both in Lego form. And as a huge Transformer and Lego fan, this is quite the sight to behold for me. But getting Optimus out of the way. Hopefully you can still hear me because I am away from the camera picking this figure up. But here he is with the other Lego Transformer that we have so far, Bumblebee, who in my opinion is the weakest so far. I think SOUNDWAVE is just as awesome as Optimus, if not more awesome. But here he is with the other Lego Transformer that we have. And last but certainly not least, here he is with a CG image of how he appeared in the G1 cartoon, so you can see just how good they did with this model. And just so you can get a sense of how they did with the Minicons, first here is Laserbeak with how he appeared in the G1 cartoon. And here's Ravage with a CG image of how he appeared in the G1 cartoon. And with all of that being said about this beautiful robot mode that we get here with Lego SOUNDWAVE, the main feature of these Lego Transformers is, of course, that they can transform. So let's go ahead and transform Lego SOUNDWAVE. So the first thing we're going to do is remove his gun here, and we are actually going to go ahead and split it into two pieces and sit it off to the side. We are also going to remove his shoulder missile launcher and sit it off to the side for now, and that will allow us to really get started. So the first thing we're going to do is turn around to the back here and bring this backpack section down, rotate his head 180 degrees, bring it around, and close that section over top of it like so. The next thing we're going to do is push these hands all the way back on the joints that they are on. Just push those all the way back like so. And now what we can do is untab these shoulder sections, or unclip them rather, on each side and bring them back for now. Now what we're going to do is go ahead and come down here and work on the legs. The first thing we're going to do is push the feet up like so on each side, and then bring this back section around over top of that piece. It is on a double hinge. It will come right around just like so, so you can see how that works. The next thing we are going to want to do is come here, and we are going to want to bring these pieces out like so, and also rotate them upwards like this. And then what's going to happen is this piece is going to completely collapse, and you can see you will just line it up here, and it will line perfectly right there. And then this little section here you will grab, and it is on a double hinge, and it will come forward and fill in that little section there. And now I'm going to sit him on the ground and adjust the camera. And we're going to do the same with the other leg, just down here at a lower angle. Basically, you're just going to be bringing it out and rotating it at here, and bring it the rest of the way out. So he's doing a full split. Bring this piece up on that knee joint, and it will line up right there. And then grab this little section and double hinge it forward like so. We can then sit him flat and turn around to the back here. I'm not sure how well you can see it, but there is a little black piece right there, and that clip on the shoulder there will clip into that to hold that into place like so. And of course the same on the other side. Just clip that into place to hold everything into place. You can then straighten your shoulders out. And yes, unfortunately, the hands are basically just going to be hanging out back here. It's quite an eyesore, but there's really nothing more you are told to do with them. They kind of just hang out there. But if we bring in his other accessories, they do all store here in this mode. That clip there is made for this little piece right here. So just go ahead and clip that right onto there, so that will store there like so. And then what you're going to do here is take this one, and this one will clip in over here. You want to make sure it's facing downward, that way it doesn't stick up above the top of the cassette, but it will just tab on right there. Come on, there we go, tab that on right there. And then you will take this one and you'll use that little Technic piece, and it will go in right there. So just go right there, tab that in, and that is how all of your weapons will look stored. And from the front, that is how your cassette player alt mode for SOUNDWAVE will look. And I do personally think that this cassette player turned out pretty beautiful, especially for a Lego alt mode. Especially from the front view, it looks almost spot on to what we see in the cartoon. Of course, if you flip it around, you have arms and missiles and guns going on, but I mean, don't store your figures facing the back. Just look at the side you're supposed to look at, and he looks absolutely awesome. And you do still have access to all your play features. You can still press that button, which will open up his chest. Well, what is his chest? I guess now it's the cassette holder, but you could put Laserbeak or Ravage right in there, as you could in robot mode, and you can still press your little button there and get all of your other features. But if we come in close and take a look at some new details we get, you see you get a record and battery there, and you get some other wording here. You got a right and a left there. Of course, you still have that very beautiful printed piece there in the middle with the play button down there. That's about all the new detailing you get, but it does make for a really good looking cassette player. And for some quick comparisons with the other Lego Transformers, first, here is SOUNDWAVE in alt mode with the original Lego Optimus Prime in his alt mode. So as you can see, obviously not to scale, that can be expected. That would be a massive cassette player, but they do both look really good compared to how they looked in the G1 cartoon. I'm going to carefully get Optimus out of here. He likes to fall to pieces for some reason when he is in alt mode. But here he is with the other Lego Transformer we have so far, with Bumblebee as the Volkswagen, which doesn't really look like a Volkswagen, but they do both look pretty close to what they did in the cartoon. SOUNDWAVE looks nearly identical. And one last thing to touch on before wrapping up this review. I was actually wrong earlier when I said there was nowhere you could put these and to store them away. You actually can. So basically, if you come here and just remove this plaque by pulling it forward, you will see that it reveals this little space here with a little bit of storage. And basically what you have the option to do is you can take these extra little eye pieces. I personally use the red for my eyes, so my extras are the yellow. And you can basically tab them in down there, and then what you can do is basically just rest the Laserbeak version on top, or the Ravage version, whichever version you're not using, and then you just slide this piece right back over it, and as you can see, it stores very nicely back in there. And that is a super nice inclusion that I actually found in the instructions, a part that I hadn't read yet. Super nice inclusion that they didn't have to do. So this has been my review for LEGO Set 10358 SOUNDWAVE, and overall, this is a great LEGO set. The build is really fun. I don't feel like it gets too repetitive at any point, even though you are pretty much building the same limbs once you get to the arms and legs. It still doesn't feel that repetitive. It's still a fun, enjoyable build. You get lots of great stuff in this set. You get a beautiful SOUNDWAVE that can convert into the awesome cassette player that looks very reminiscent to what we saw on screen in the G1 cartoon. You also get Laserbeak and Ravage, which are awesome additions, and I'm super happy they included them. As for the future of LEGO Transformers, I would love to see them make a mini pack of like Rumble, Frenzy, Ratbat, Buzzsaw. That would be awesome to see, just so we can have all of the mini cassette bots. I don't see them ever doing that, unfortunately, because Laserbeak and Ravage are obviously the two most popular that everyone almost knows, especially if they're into Transformers. But it still would be cool to see those other cassettes in the future. So LEGO, if you're listening, there are certainly people that would buy that if you ever made it. Also included in this set, you get the little cassette that you get to put on the stand here with the nice plaque there showing his statistics and whatnot. But overall, just a really fun build, and what you get in the end looks awesome. In my opinion, these LEGO Transformers sets have been really, really fun so far, specifically the Optimus and Soundwave. Bumblebee, he didn't quite look accurate to what he was in the cartoon. He was still a fun build and still cool to have in the collection, but Optimus and Soundwave really capture what they looked like in the G1 cartoon, and I think both of them are certainly worthy of being in your collection. Bumblebee, maybe not quite as much, but me personally, as a big LEGO and Transformer fan, I had to have him as well. But Soundwave, certainly a recommendation from me. You also get the awesome sound brick here. Speaking of which, there is a little thing that I forgot to mention, and I'm going to drop things, but I have to show this off if I can get to it. I don't think I can, unfortunately, but if you pull the sound brick out, it is actually designed in a way that it looks exactly like the head sculpt of Soundwave. So that was a very cool thing that they did not have to do, but I really, really appreciated that, because it was a small detail that you're never going to see because there are Technic pieces holding it into place. But when you're building it up, it's very easy to notice that that is supposed to be a Soundwave head. Also, some other little details as I try to sit Laserbeak back in here somewhere where you can see him maybe. Some other little details in the instruction manual give the story of how they designed this figure and some history on Soundwave in the Transformers franchise. Just overall, so much to enjoy about this set. I certainly recommend it. So if I had to rate the LEGO Soundwave on a scale of 1 to 10, I am going to give him a very, very solid 9.5 out of 10. I feel like I've been going with that rating a lot recently, but we've been taking a look at some awesome figures. I feel like a 9.5 is very solid because the build is fun. He looks great. He comes with awesome accessories. Just wish they maybe would have found a way to, even if they had to increase the price a little bit, include those other cassette bots. But other than that, he is really an awesome figure that I certainly recommend. He holds together very well. I've only had a few minor pieces falling off, nothing that can't be fixed. So certainly going to have to recommend this guy. So I will see you all soon with more reviews. And until then, don't forget, never sacrifice the things you love for the approval of others. Get yourself a LEGO Soundwave. Roll out. Peace.